Y'all know we gotta wait for the Instagram to come up. One day they'll get this fixed where StreamYard runs the Instagram at the same time and you don't have to wait. But now we are live. Hello, hello, hello. It's your boy, the Beast One. Welcome to Dad Mentality Podcast. This week we have a very special guest. I've been waiting for this gentleman to join us for a while. I just want to make sure we had the right time and everything for it. Y'all know him as Mr. Strickland, and he's with MPSC Entertainment. And we're going to talk about how it is the journey for clean comedy. And then also we're going to talk about, what is your purpose and how to walk in your purpose. So we'll get into that later as we go into the show. Y'all know what it is, Dad Mentality.
What is that's mentality? What it is? The mentality of taking care of family. As a man, I get lonely. I can't even call my homies, but I answer every call when my kids call me. I'll be there when they need me. They depending on me. They looking up to me. Sometimes we gotta fix our mental. Or maybe it's not meant to be a dad, a father, that's what men do. I made a promise to my kids, that's what I do. I just want them to do things better than I do. Or better yet, better things that I did. What is that's mentality? What it is? The mentality of taking care of family. As a man, I get lonely. I can't even call my homies, but I answer every call when my kids call me. I'll be there when they need me. They depending on me. They looking up to me. Welcome to the show, shout out to the coach. And Matty Ice, Ice Cold Crypto. And each one, teach one. That's mentality. We just try to reach one. What is that's mentality?
Hello, hello, hello. It's your boy, the Beast One. Welcome to Dad Mentality Podcast. I'm glad that everybody come to join us again tonight. If you liked our intro, that was done by our man, our boy, Art by Guapo. You can check him out. And matter of fact, you can check him out with the Knox. That is, this young man's doing something very special. He's doing his own animation and entertainment, and right now we got a series where you can we got episode 2. I know y'all have been waiting for it. Episode 2 is coming on the 20th, Tuesday the 20th of this month at 8 o'clock, and I'm almost 100% positive on that date. I think it is the 20th, right, Matty Ice? Real quick, if you remember.
Yeah, it's gonna be the 20th. I'm gonna confirm with him and see if it's gonna be the 20th or the following week, the 22nd. I mean the 27th, but
he sent me the 20th. He sent me the 20th. I'm gonna say it's the 20th, and we're gonna go ahead and do that Tuesday show at 7:30, where you can join us and watch the episode 2 of the Knox. If you haven't been watching it, please go to YouTube and follow my man on the Knox. But thank you for watching the show today. As you know, I don't do this show by myself. I do it with my boys. You know, y'all know him. He's been my boy since we was 4 years old, running in the sandbox. We used to run the church. Now we ran the streets, and now we run the church again. You know what I'm saying? But it's my man Vance Robs, aka Coach. What's going on, Coach?
What's good with you? How y'all doing today?
Man, doing excellent. Also got my other boy, y'all know him as the diversified hustler. You know him as Wealthy and Blessed. You know him as the man that we call him Mr. Bitcoin. Also, if you don't see, you see what I got on. It's green, so you can't see it, but it's the Guap Chasers brand also under them. You can check that out, and that is my man Matty Ice Cold Crypto. What's going on, Matty Ice?
Man, I'm good. Happy to be here. How y'all fellas doing tonight on this good Monday?
Man, I'm doing excellent, brother. Excellent. So we got a special guest today with us, fellas. This gentleman, I actually met him a while back, and I knew I wanted him to be on the show. From the moment I met him, I kind of was impressed by what he does, that he is a paramedic, B, he also is a Christian comedian. He also has his own company, entertainment company, where he's putting out great entertainment for everyone from all ages, everything going on. You can catch him on Instagram, you can catch him on everything. But if you want to see a little bit of more about him, I got this clip we're going to go ahead and play for you real quick before he gets into the introduction. Hold on, I done messed it up. See, I'm getting old on all this. So let me pause it real quick and let's see if I can get it to start all over real quick. I want to start because I want to make sure I get him from the beginning. He gets the great introduction he deserves. So, we're going to get that set up real quick. And here we go.
And listen here. You ever want to help every local small business, but your wallet says, pick 3 and don't get cute? We get it. Supporting small business is a marathon, not a sprint. And here at MPSC Entertainment, every laugh you share, every ticket you buy, every shirt you rock helps us keep bringing comedy that heals. Yep, our shirts are for sale, and everyone helps fuel the magic of laughter and another step in that long race called life. Speaking of marathons, my wife signed me up for a 13-mile bike ride and a 5K run. I don't know if that's metric or imperial. I just know I'm going to need prayer and probably a knee brace. I'm just saying. But hey, inch by inch, it's supposed to be a cinch, right? Right? I don't know. So when's that Mother's Day comedy show again? Saturday, May 17th, live, online, or on demand when you need that boost. Grab tickets at mpscentertainment.com and use code MPSCPS for 25% off. Let's laugh together. Life's better that way. Stay blessed, y'all. I'll talk to you later. I don't want to run. Peace.
All right, so this guy here, his name is Phil Strickland. What's going on, Phil? How you doing today, brother?
Y'all, what's up, y'all? Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm actually at the fire station. I got some knuckleheads I'm working with over here, so hopefully they won't pop in and disturb me, but they usually don't follow the rules too much. But either way, I'm here with y'all. I'm happy to be here. I had to turn my shirt inside out so the chief don't get mad at me and be like, Strickland, don't you be on there with the fire department. I was like, Chief, my shirt's inside out. I'm good, bro. Hey, like I said, man, it's all good. You got to make a way. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
There you go, for sure. And we thank you for coming and joining us. So, one of the things I definitely wanted to have you on here for is that, when I met you, and I met you through, I think it was through Brenda Brown and all this shows, and at that point in time, I was introducing myself to comedy and trying to figure my way. But when I met you and saw that you was doing clean comedy, you had a purpose and you had your own company and everything like that. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna really start paying attention to this guy from the background. You know what I'm saying? I know I never really said anything to you personally, but I'm giving you your flowers now. I was like, yo, I want to see what this guy's doing, see what he's really about. And then I knew I always wanted to have you on the show to talk about what your journey was, because I was like, I didn't felt like you definitely didn't get here overnight. So I'm sure there is a story to it. I have no idea what that story is, but I hope we get to hear it today. But before we get into all that, we're going to do our mental health check-in, fellas. As y'all know, mental health is important to us here at Dad Mentality. We think it's very important that if you talk to somebody about how you're feeling, to let them know, because mental health is something that we don't talk about as men a lot, and we don't talk about, especially as Black men in our culture. So we want to make sure we break that and let it know it's okay. So anybody in the comments, please, if you want to check in and put your mental health in, we'll definitely talk about it and see what's going on. But we're going to start with us today. And I'm going to go ahead and let Coach start us off with this week of mental health for our mental health check-in.
Oh, man. I mean, the last week was, you know what I'm saying, a kind of a blessing in disguise. You know what I'm saying? It was a busy week. You know what I mean? The wife has started a new chapter in her personal life with, well, not even personal, her professional life. She's part of Goldman Sachs internship program for the top small businesses. So she started that, which of course made my life, you know what I'm saying, a little bit more stressful and helping more around the house and so forth. But it was fun. I managed to execute a couple events for her company last week. My regular job has been picking up pretty good. I know that, you know what I'm saying, Mr. Strickland kind of mentioned his little 13-mile bike ride that he was talking about. I managed to get 97 miles in last week on a bike. So, you know what I mean? I haven't gotten up to my 3K run yet. So, or 5K run. I haven't gotten that. I think I'm dealing with a strain from back in early February that I need to really go to the doctor about. But all in all, I'm probably at about a 7.5, 8 this week. So got a follow-up doctor's appointment tomorrow. That's really important. So I'm looking forward to it.
Everybody asked, how long you think you was waiting to mention his little 30, his little 90?
No, I seen him when Phil said what he said, and I was like, man, I was like, come on, coach, come on, man. Everybody can't ride 97 miles, bro.
Y'all knew I was gonna fry him. Talking about 13 miles. That's a warm up. You know,
come on, man.
He warmed up.
Everybody don't have the same bike seat you got with the butt cushions. They can't ride 97 miles, man. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? So y'all already knew what you knew was about to happen. The minute he said bike ride that video, Rodney set you up. That's really what it was.
Don't even. Hey, but this what Coach ain't telling y'all, man. He got an electric bike. He got an electric bike over there.
No, sir. If you see me on an electric bike, no, you know what I'm saying? No, sir. Rodney seen the bike. But Rodney is, hey, man, you gotta play Rodney. He threw the alley-oop to me by playing that video about a bicycle. Like, he already knew what he was doing to begin with. That's why he picked it.
I did. I ain't gonna lie. I knew it was gonna come. That's why I saw his face as soon as I was watching the whole time.
Yeah. He like 13 miles. He like 13 mials.
13 miles. I wouldn't even bring my bike out for 13 miles. What you talking about?
Yeah.
So anyway, I knew it was
not
coming.
off the gate, right?
Y'all, all right, be gentle. It's all good. Anyway, we gonna go ahead, Matty Ice. How your week going? Where you at from 0 to 10, sir? And what you got? What you feeling good and looking forward to?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. I'm still at my 8.5, 8.75, man. I had a good week last week. Like, my week's been busy, like, you know what I mean? Because I've been trying to balance my new work schedule on top of, you know what I mean, still running the business and taking care of the family, you know what I'm saying, coming home, cooking dinner, doing everything. But I'm taking it in stride and enjoying it, you know what I mean? I'm feeling blessed that I'm even capable of doing all that I'm doing right now, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean, weight still coming off, man, you know what I mean? I'm down some more pounds this week, coach. You know what I mean? I'm down.
I didn't even notice it. My bad.
You know what I mean? So I'm you muted, coach. I want to hear what you're saying.
I noticed it, man. I noticed it. The hat is fitting better. Your head is smaller. You know what I mean? You can button the top button on your polo shirt.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm feeling good, man. Like, you know what I mean? So balancing life between, you know what I mean, working, because, you know what I mean, like this. I haven't worked the, you know what I mean, quote unquote 9-to-5 job in a lot of years, but I'm blessed for the opportunity that came about, man. I'm like really enjoying it, you know what I mean? So between that, working, yesterday was Mother's Day, man. So I got up, went to church with the wife, took, you know what I mean, the family, you know what I mean, had a good day, cooked dinner. And then on Saturday, my daughter led a presentation at Bowie State for one of their expos. I appreciate Vicky for coming out, supporting. Vicky came through, Rodney's wife, and she did an excellent job. So that was a bonus to the weekend. So, you know what I mean, things have been good, man. So I can't complain right now. You know what I mean? Can't complain. Just still trying to find that balance, though, running the business and working a full-time job again, but I think I'm starting to find my stride this last week, you know what I mean, of balancing both of them, man. So I'm at a 8.5, 8.75, man. Like, I would be higher. Only reason I'm not probably a little bit higher just because I felt myself being fatigued, but I was able to get a little bit of rest on Saturday night, and then took a little nap when we came home from church before I cooked dinner. But was feeling good when I woke up this morning, and today was a good day. Started the week off good. knocked out a good project at a store that we setting up this week. So
Nice.
I'm feeling good.
Good,
Yes,
good. Good stuff, bro. All right, so for me, and I'm kind of like you, Matt, in a lot of things you said. One thing I've been really focusing on, and I don't know if I put it on the shows. It was a clip I watched. Yeah, we did. I think we did talk about where you changed that got to get to, and I've been really changing that. Every time I say to myself, "Oh, I gotta go to work," I change it to "I get to go to work." You know what I'm saying? Like, "Oh, I gotta cook." You know what? I change it to "I get to cook." And it's really been helping me with changing my focus. You know what I'm saying? Changing my focus on the positivity and not and you know, like they said on there's somebody out in this world that wish they had my problems. You know what I'm saying? The things that I'm complaining about, there's somebody out there that wish, my job is in a very not a great area of Washington, D.C. And I've even been saying that to the people at my job and trying to get their mindset into that same thing where where we break. I was like, yo, we can break this stigmatism that we have in this area. You know what I'm saying? I was even talking to a customer last week about it because she was like, oh, this is Southeast, y'all. We don't. I understand why the service is not going to be good, and I was like, well, that's not here. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't do what you're talking about ain't here. You know what I'm saying? And we had to have that real conversation where, you got, there's always what they say, there's grass that grows in the concrete. There's, things that happen out of places that I wouldn't be like me. I would have never, you asked me a year ago that I'd be working in Southeast in a restaurant again. I would have told you, hell no, that ain't never happening. And and I felt like this is a great time to have you, Phil, because I feel like you're walking in your purpose too. So your purpose, and I've just began how I feel that I'm walking in my purpose. You know what I'm saying? That I follow what God asked me to do, and I'm working in it, and I'm seeing things that I would have never imagined seeing now. So, but I mean, to go back to my week, I'm still at about an 8.5. I think I'll be a lot better because my daughter's going to prom this week, man, and I'm excited that she's graduating. Real quick story, fellas. Since my daughter's 4 years old, I have taken her to school every day, just about every day. I would say 95% of the time I took her home. She never rode the bus.
That's a blessing.
It is a blessing. And one of the things we used to have was Freestyle Friday. When it was Friday, she got to pick the music riding to school. And when she was real little, she played Carrie Hilton's Pretty Girl Rock. And you got to imagine this. One time I remember we was going to school. It was a beautiful day. It was the end of the school year, close to it. It was a beautiful day. I had a Expedition with a sound system in the back of it. So my daughter's only 5. So she's in the back seat. I got the windows rolled down, and I'm playing Pretty Girl Rock to the fullest. Like it's at 10 on the joint. It's pumping. You know what I'm saying? And all you see is this big dude singing every single word of Pretty Girl Rock in his car. And the school bus pulled up, and the kids were dying laughing in the school bus, but I didn't care. And I just pointed in the back, and then they finally saw my daughter and waved to all the girls on. It was a high school bus. All the girls waved to my daughter and stuff like that, and it was a cool moment. So taking her to her last day of school, we played Pretty Girl Rock. My daughter was crying, and I was holding it in, man. I was holding it in. It was my last time dropping my baby off at school. So it was very emotional, but, it was a great day. I'm so proud of her and everything that she's doing. And even my oldest in the Air Force, I'm proud of him too. And my youngest is becoming his own now, playing sports and football. So I am truly blessed. You know what I'm saying? I'm really blessed. So getting her through right now, next week, getting her through prom and graduation then after that, I'll breathe. I'll be able to breathe because right now you're trying to get through it all and live in the moment. So I'm about an 8.5 as well. I definitely think I will be higher. I really feel like I'm really at a 9, but I want to say 8.5 because I want to give room for when I get to that, when I'm really feeling that 10, I can just be like, yeah, it's that 10 right here. So, life is good, man. Everybody's good. Quick shout out to To Chef Dennis, he said what's up. My girl O said what's up. Molly saying what's up in Louisville. He said what's up, everybody. So give y'all rating. And let us know. Phil Strickland, let us know. Give us your rating from 0 to 10. Let us know what you're looking forward to and what's going on in your life, man.
Man, listen, y'all inspiring me, man. I'm sitting there like, that's what's up. Game recognized, game. You were talking about the pretty girl, what you call it, the pretty girl rock
Girl
song.
rock, yeah.
I'm not sure. I wish you would have a clip of that and stuff.
Yeah. Ronnie probably was looking like
my name is Kerry. I'm so very.
He was looking like what's my man name off White Chicks, man, when he was dancing in the car singing the
joint.
Well, I'm sitting
Pretty as a picture. I know every word. Don't worry about it. But go ahead.
Come on, man. You gonna have to sing us out on that one, man.
I don't know about that. Let's go. Let's keep it going. We got it though.
I'd say from a number standpoint, I'm probably a good strong 8. I'm a good strong 8. Something I've noticed as a man trying to. I was a girl dad, so I got 2 girls. They both grown. One of them came to me this morning. I'm here. We doing fire training and stuff. They talking about esophageal cancer and all kind of crazy mess, and just different things. You hear these things, you just like, man, but they're talking about doing free testing for the firemen and the paramedic and stuff. And so we're going over that. Next thing I know, she calls me. She's like, Dad, now don't get me wrong. My girls are they've always been about, hey, it's a win or a learn, what the situation. That's how I raise them. I'm like, look, either you win it or you learn. All right. So it's win or learn. It's either one of those. That's it. And I said, sometimes things do seem like they tough and stuff, but just take a minute. A lot of times it's not as bad, or there's something that situation is trying to teach you, or that you'll be able to help somebody else out with later on down the road. So, just real practical, because, they weren't boys. So I couldn't just bust them upside the head. I couldn't do that. I had to talk to them. I had to talk to them to help them understand. So she messages me and is like, Dad, and I have been driving her car around. She wound up getting a college scholarship for track. And I was like, look, you get at least a 50% paid scholarship. I got you. All right. Me and Mom will buy you a vehicle up to $20,000. That was back before tariffs and all that, mind you, and stuff. But nonetheless, she got this car back in 2017. She was all right. Ain't nobody had heard of COVID or nothing at that time and stuff. She doing her own thing, So she gets her vehicle. And but over the years, it's kind of got run down. She looking at me like, well, Dad, the windshield crack. It's kind of backfired a little bit. Why does it smell like that? I can't even tell that the inside is clean no more. I mean, she just got all this little stuff and stuff. Bulbs is out and all that. So I said, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna drive this thing for the next couple of weeks, and we're gonna slowly but surely get all these things fixed. So it's okay. She's like, all right, bet. So the last thing we had to get fixed was this thing called a clock spring in the steering wheel, which allows you to hit the buttons for turning up the music and all that stuff. And it controls the electronic stabilization and all that. So it was like a Dodge Nitro, kind of like a Jeep Liberty and stuff. And so we're looking at that. And I've been driving this little roller skate around, and it's still looking fresh. When she got it, she was like, look, if I can get the windows tinted and that stereo pop, we all right and stuff. And so, I mean, she was rolling. She was looking good with it. But it needs some maintenance. So I've been driving this thing around. I'm on the last day today. Why did this girl call me and say, hey, Dad, that beautiful 2018 GMC 2500 Denali that I've been driving around, that's yours, with the diesel. I was like, yeah. What you do? You get it free? You get it washed for me, everything? Because we about to switch cars and it's been about 3.5 months. What happened? How you doing? Like that. She's like, Dad, everybody in the apartment complex, there's been 7 cars that have broken into. I'm like, Lord, what happened to my truck? Like that. What's going on with my truck? And she said, Dad, the window's busted. And I look and I see the passenger side window is just barely hanging on. It's all shattered and stuff. And I'm thinking, the devil is a lie. I was so like, dang it. I said, first off, is you okay? She's like, yeah. She's like, actually, they had a couple of even gunshots and stuff. I'm surprised I didn't hear that and stuff. I said, look, as long as you okay, we all right. So I went ahead and called it in. The insurance company was like, "Hey, you know what? Your deductible's $500, Mr. Strickland." I said, "All right, that's business, and stuff." And they said, "We go through Safe Flight." I said, "All right, cool. They already got somebody Safe Flight repair, Safe Flight replace. That's what I'm talking about." And next thing you know, they said, "We're actually gonna save you some money. You don't even got to hit it up with your deductible and stuff. We're gonna save you some money. It'll be $487.72." I was like, "Well, you know what? Thank the Lord for small blessings and stuff. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm not happy about it and stuff."
Yeah.
So she drove it to the fire station and stuff, and the guys here were talking with her, whatnot. She's like, "Dad, I'm so sorry." I was like, "Listen, life happened. All right.
Mhm.
Now I don't like spending all this money. You still owe me about 3,500 for getting your car all where it needs to be these last couple months. I love you enough to let you not only have the power, but the responsibility of having that. But hey, look, we might have to split this window because look, I ain't made the money. I ain't out here volunteering. I'm out here
All right.
I'm out here trying to do what I gotta do and stuff." But nonetheless, I said, in all seriousness, you good, baby? You good. So like I said, I say probably about an 8 if you'll allow me just in 1 minute or less. For Mother's Day,
Good.
me and my wife, we went to church and stuff. We met the youngest there and stuff. Went around, took some flowers because I got a lot of ladies in my family. So we took some flowers to my mom. We get over there, she having a problem with her sugar. So we're like, "All right, cool. Look, you need to be on this insulin sliding scale, and all my wife's a nurse and all that." We're like, "Hey, we'll help you with my chart and talk to your doctor and all that sort of thing." So we do that, give her flowers. Go over to my grandparents. Grandma needs help opening a jar of pickles or something and all. We give her flowers. I talk to my grandfather. Now they 93 and 95 years old and stuff. Y'all don't come here enough. What's happening?
Yep.
Wednesday. We always eat beans and cornbread on Wednesday. I see y'all Wednesday. I said, "But we can't stay long. We got to deliver all these flowers and stuff." Next place we stop by, we go see both our aunts and stuff. So her aunts are there, and one of them's got a medical issue, and we're like, you gotta have that particular piece to take care of what you got to take care of medically. Now I ain't gonna get into that because it's HIPAA. But the point is,
Right.
when we went back to give her that piece, just my wife went in because I'm like, "You the nurse, go on.
Right.
You save urine. I mean, go on now." So
Yeah.
so
Yep.
and we get that situated, and finally we make it over to her mom's house, and my wife was like, "Dang, I didn't even get a chance to enjoy my Mother's Day. This is supposed to be about me." And she was getting a little down about it. I said, "Look," I said, "God ain't gonna forget not a 1 second. All right, we're gonna get double for our trouble on this. Ain't nobody else in our family that can do all this stuff. Help our family members in and around Columbus, Ohio, which is where we hail from and stuff." I said, "We gonna be all right." So it ain't about looking at it like I didn't get to and all that. No, God got us. You know how much we pay attention to our growth.
It's like what Rodney said. Yeah.
Hey, it's a blessing, brother, because some of us ain't got an aunt. Some of us ain't got that mother to go see or that grandmother. So I'll be honest with you, hearing your story made me jealous because I ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? So, no, but I mean, I'm grateful. I'm not, really jealous. My mom, the time that I spent with my mom was amazing. So, I'm glad that too. But
what's the thing you were saying, Rodney? You said I don't got to, I get to.
Yeah, I don't got to, I get to. Yeah. So it's definitely something I've been 100% focused on. But it's hey, that to me sound like a great Mother's Day. I did not. Oh, let's all say thank you and happy Mother's Day to our special women in our life. My wife is an excellent mother and wife.
All the mothers on the call, Courtney. I'm not sure your wife's name, Phil, but happy Mother's Day to her. I saw Vicky. I was able to wish her happy Mother's Day on Saturday. So
definitely Miss O as well and Courtney. For sure. 100%.
All y'all wives.
Yeah. And if you want to ever visit our wives, there's an episode where the wives have been there. Even before this one, we've had all three on here. So, it's a great time to check us out. They all definitely have our backs. And, but like I tell my wife, Mother's Day for her is every day. So, I don't need no special days. But, we keep that moving.
Father's Day on the way too. We got Father's Day on the way, bro.
I'm gonna put it in the plug the day after.
We making sure. Hey, she don't even get a full 2 days. Nah, hold on. We gotta remember that what's about to come on. All right, so fellas, one of the things I want to definitely talk to you about, Phil, is that when one thing that you do that's different than a lot of people doing is you do Christian comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just curious to why, what made you decide to do Christian comedy? Were you doing, you know, the hardcore stuff before and then you decided, or you always went down that road of Christian comedy?
Well, shoot, a lot of that is based on the fact that, again, being at a fire department and stuff, you get a chance to work with a lot of different characters. A lot of these jokers is retired or previous military and stuff. And in the military, you got some hard jokers. You know, I was a military brat growing up. My father did 22 years in the Marines. He was a black helicopter pilot. He wound up retiring as a major and stuff. I mean, he really did some big things. And then all this after playing for Ohio State. Watch out now, go Bucks, man. He was in 1970 national championship team. So he was on there handling business and stuff. But what wound up happening is he went on to the Marines after that. And a lot of them jokers, you know, with that kind of jock mentality and all that stuff, you know, you can always tell the ones who are usually cussing the craziest and got the craziest stories or whatnot are usually the ones that are the most insecure anyway and stuff. And if you can kind of keep yourself cool and tell the story, can you tell the story without putting all the low-hanging fruit of all the bad words and all that stuff in it, all the rude comments? Can you just tell the story and have that be entertaining and stuff? Well, why do you do that? Well, with my, again, being a girl dad, you know, I was doing my best. I wanted to show my girls, look, this is the kind of man I want you to pursue and stuff, is one who can go deep in the bag to explain themselves, whether they're trying to be funny or whether they're upset or, you know, when they have to hold big things and stuff. Because as I sat back and watched my father, you know, he was a gentleman nonetheless. I mean, he acted the part of an officer. You know what I'm saying? He acted the part of a boss. It was a man of few words. Now, my mom, who was a talk show host, which you can imagine where I got all my talking from,
Okay.
she was like, hey, you know, take time to explain yourself and that sort of thing. And you smart enough, you ain't got to use, you know, you can use your church curse words, frick and dagnabbit and son of a biscuit eater and all that sort of thing. So in doing all that, a lot of times the folks and stuff that I work with, they get to the point where they're laughing, and you know, that kind of recharges you, almost like that Monsters Inc. You know, you can scare people, you can gross them out, you can do all this other stuff. They only got so much power in their little power cells and stuff. But when the monsters got them kids to laughing, that's where the magic happened and stuff. And you know, everybody can have a good time. So anyway, in trying to tell a lot of the stories, when the girls would be like, Dad, what happened at work? Well, I can't tell them, hey, you know, there was a prostitute that you know got you know raped and murdered. You know, I can't tell them, hey, there was a kid that died in the fire. You know, so I can't really say it like that because that there was too little for that and stuff. But I was able to tell them like, hey, there was a lady, some people they hurt her up real bad, and she went on to be with Jesus and stuff. You couldn't do nothing for her, Dad, and stuff. And again, you're holding that heavy thing as they're watching you, looking in your eyes like, how's this work? You know what'd you do, Dad? I mean, you couldn't do nothing for her, you know, that kind of thing. It's like, nah, I couldn't and stuff. But you know, we doing our best. You know, there were some other people that survived and stuff. What about the bad people? They catch them? Nope. But maybe we need to pray and you know, say something to the Lord so he can make them moves that he's got to make to get people where they got to be and stuff. Because he loves us all and stuff. Even the bad people, Dad. Yeah, even the bad people and stuff. But that don't make it okay. You know, they still got to take care of their consequences. They, you know, they got to deal with their consequences and stuff. And, you know, and so it's a lot of talking like that, them and their stuffed animals that they would have lined up, you know, as they're like, all right, Dad, tell us the story. What happened? Tell us what happened with Danny Danielle, you know, and that was like a transvestite person that was there and just had a bad situation. And I'm like, well, this is what's going on and stuff. What's up? So anyway, that's what that is. But yeah, just trying to stay clean, man. Encourage people that way.
Man, I couldn't imagine having to come home and try to explain stories like that.
Yeah.
My boss is a fire chief, and my old boss, sorry, not my old boss. It was a fire chief, and he used to tell me stories all the time about stuff that happened. I was like, yo, that's crazy. But yeah. So you being in that, Why did you? Why? I mean, well, how did the road of comedy come along?
Well, what wound up happening with those kind of different deals, you going in and day out, seeing these hard situations and stuff. Um, they had this thing called critical incident stress debriefing, or CISD. And if something was kind of crazy, I remember one time we had a infant. Someone had found a mom. She looked like she was um, postpartum, and after she had just had her baby, but couldn't nobody find her baby. It was like, what, you had a baby? You're showing all these, all this stuff that says, hey, you just had a baby, like within hours and stuff. Where's your baby? And so they're trying to get her situated. She was kind of having a little bit of she was having a mental crisis and stuff. And we wound up finding the baby, but the baby was in a stream, and it was just rolling over where the water was going over the rocks and stuff. And the baby looked like a doll baby, and it was just rolling over with the umbilical cord just right there. Like I said, it looked like a doll baby. And we were just like, man. So it turned into a body recovery. We couldn't do anything with the baby. We couldn't save the baby. And after that, they put us. Sometimes they would put us into groups with different counselors that specialize in that kind of thing. And in talking about it, a lot of times we feel better and stuff. Some of us have more of a darker sense of humor, or can be kind of rough or callous about it and stuff in ways that ain't for everyday average ears and stuff. It's just like, man, that's dark, man. You looking at it like that, that's crazy, bro. You had that. But then some of us, you cry and you got different things and stuff. But anyway, in these kind of situations, we were mandated to go to these debriefings. What was found out was, as I was in there talking to them, the counselors were, they take you off to the side as you go through the process over days and weeks and that sort of thing, and it would come up like like waves, over the seasons. This was, I've been doing this for 30 years as of October this year, and so there's times when it's a little harder than others. And anyway, what wound up happening was I was talking with one of the counselors, and he said, Mr. Strickland, you have a tendency to read the room, different than your first responder counterparts. And a lot of times you're bringing people from emergency to a state of equilibrium to where they're kind of okay. And then even past that, you bring them into the magic of laughter and stuff, even in situations that could be kind of tough, and they're just like, man, I feel better. Hey, I'm glad you were here with me. I know I just lost my ear and stuff, and you're still out there looking for it, and they'll probably get sewn back on. But either way, man, that's a lot. Thank you for that. And as time went on, he said, but you feel better when you communicate, when you're actually connecting with the people that you're talking to, and whether you're trying to talk an old lady into going to the hospital or going to the hospital, and she knows that's probably gonna be the last time she's gonna see her house and her cats and stuff, and she's gonna be in a nursing home after that, if surviving anyway. Or you're trying to talk a young one, a little kid into having a shot, that they need and stuff. All that stuff comes with a bit of sales to it. And again, if you can read the room and you pay attention to that, and like I said, you get them to the magic of laughter, like, hey, you know what? Here's a rubber glove. And I blow it up and tie a knot in it. Look, now it's a rescue chicken. See, this is the beak, and this is what it is, and like that. And the kids are like, and I'm like, here, you can hold on to this. Now you hold on, and we're gonna get you situated. We gotta give you this medicine so you feel better. Oh, no, okay, it's gonna pinch a little bit, but you got muscles, right? Show me your muscles. Show me, that kind of stuff. And getting them to understand, you realize they feel better when you're kind of laughing with them. And that was just
Matt, you muted, Matt. It looked like you was trying to say something.
Now I say that's going above and beyond right there, because when people are in situation, you need people to show compassion. Because sometimes, because my wife goes through medical things, and then sometimes when she's, going through stuff, like some of the nurses and different stuff, they don't show compassion. Like, people are in pain, what I mean? And it's like they don't even understand, like, because it becomes they're a little numb to it, what I mean? So to speak. You know what I mean? And I get that, what I mean? And sometimes they got to disconnect from it just because of the stuff they go through. So I get that. But at the same time, I commend that right there. That's what's up.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you, brother. That's exactly right too. Like my wife, she don't necessarily like talking about what's going on at the hospital and all that stuff, what she has to deal with and stuff. Just because she was like, "Look, I'm done. I really don't want to talk about it. It's some big stuff. That's just what it is. I'm not here to make folks laugh, Bill, and stuff. I'm here." And she's very good at how she does her things, but she's meticulous and
Yeah.
that kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. As for me, I'm looking like, hey, if the bell didn't ring, we ain't got no emergency and stuff. So there's some days where we got no hitters, where we don't have anything going on, and if
Right.
nothing's going on for us, that's great for us. But it's good for the community also. It's great for us because we still get paid, but it's good for the community also because that means nothing crazy happened. But a lot of times, if people are calling 911, they're having one of their worst days ever. And so
Ever.
you sit back and you look at them, and you're trying to help them out. Say they're trying to help out their preteen, daughter or something, and they're living in a hoarder house type of situation, and people just not getting along. Man, that takes a toll not only on the people, but also on those that are serving them and stuff. And again, if you could take a minute to kind of joke with your partner afterwards and be like, I sure hope they don't bring us no cookies because that is a lot of cat hair I saw. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Anyway, that ain't us, bro. We gotta let that go. Let's get on ready for the next one. That kind of thing.
As long as they ain't home baked cookies, you all right, man.
They be home baked, dog. That's what he worried about. They be home baked, dog.
Don't do potlucks. Don't do potlucks.
They got the burn and all that. I ain't the one, bro. I ain't the one.
Man, you just rescued from a hoarder house and they come bringing you a lasagna. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, we appreciate y'all. Y'all did so good here. Taste it.
Get that joint to the dog.
My stomach.
Yeah, they be like, that's when you be like, oh, I'm vegan. I'm sorry,
You trying to hurt people's feelings, man. They come off funny.
Nah, man, you still gotta accept it. You just ain't gonna eat it, man. You just think like, I appreciate it, man. It's the thought. It's the thought that counts.
It's the thought that counts. What do you think about the cookies we brought up there, man? All that stuff.
Now you put them down on the table, man, for everybody else to eat. Like, hey, here's some cookies downstairs, y'all.
Right. Yeah. Nothing worse than finding to be halfway through an oatmeal raisin cookie and realize it's just oatmeal.
I know
that raisin ain't
It ain't there.
That raisin ain't a raisin, dog. That's
ain't a raisin, bro. I don't play with my food. I don't do that, man. We do that right. We look out for our food and our bedding and all that stuff. Don't play with another crew member's bed and don't play with a crew member's food and stuff. We gotta live. It's stuff. So don't play no games because it'll only be played once. Get some ice in that eye. You boy don't be giving me nothing. Don't mess with my food.
Nah, I hear you. That's crazy. That's that's amazing that you can take that type of situation, like, that I'm sure you deal with. You just even telling that story about the baby going down the stream. Yeah, that would be my last day at work, son. Like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. But I mean, that's what. So, do you feel like comedy is part of your mental health? To keep you mentally healthy?
For sure. There's so many times I went up on stage and I'd be like, look, y'all my mental health therapy. They like, I'm like, you helping me. I'm glad y'all laughing, but y'all helping me because this is just how I am. I'm gonna sit back, I'm gonna say stuff, and it is what it is and all that. I'm glad you guys find it funny because I'm more of a funny storyteller as opposed to a why the chicken crossed the road kind of thing. No. I'm more of a funny storyteller and I kind of go from there. But as you catch the feelings as you go through and stuff, I'm like, that helps me. I got to get it out, and talking to my my daughters, like I said, when they were younger and all that, they'd be like, what happened? And I felt better kind of telling them like, look, so I had to deal with this, and then that was a car accident, and then that this we had to find somebody in the woods and stuff. It was cold out there and stuff, but we got them. We got them warmed up and everything. But man, they had to be out there. Yeah, that's crazy, Dad. Yeah, that's why I don't leave the yard. That's why I make sure you listen to your parents. That kind of thing. Like, oh yeah, like so. It was
straight.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I remember when 9/11 happened. My eldest, well, she had to be 6 years old at that time. So 9/11 happened, and she's, we're all watching this all at the same time and stuff, and she's like, Dad, do you gotta go there? I said, no, they got other firefighters and paramedics and folks out there to handle all that. And she's like, well, do you if there's a fire here, can you not go in it and stuff? I said, well, that's my job. I know what to look for. I got to help those people. I know if you was caught in the house and stuff and it was on fire, I'd want you. I'd want a firefighter to go get you. I'd want them to make a plan to get you. You couldn't get me, Dad. I was like, I would definitely try, but they're equipped and they go fast. They figure it out and they got a plan and boom, they make it happen and stuff. And she was like, that's what you do? I said, yeah, sometimes when I'm not assigned to the medic unit. That didn't mean that to her, but to me it meant a lot because that's hard.
Right.
So
Right.
I said, but yeah, no, that's what I do sometimes and stuff. Some days I'm a fireman and on the engine, and other times I'm on the medic. And she's like, well, can't you just let somebody else go do it when it's time? Because I don't want you to get hurt. And again, we're seeing all these images, the plane flying into the building and all this other stuff. And I said, look, I said, just like I'd want a fireman to get you, if there's a kid in there, I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna come up with a plan with the other firefighters because we work as a team and stuff. We're gonna figure out a way to get that kid. All right, if that kid's still in there, we're gonna try to get that kid. All right, and I want to do that with you, so I got to do that. And she was like, all right, well, just be careful and always wear your seatbelt, Dad. I said, okay.
Yeah. Hey, just get there. Make sure you get there. Yeah, make sure you get there. Yeah. Make sure you get there.
Yeah, she's about to make me a grandfather. Me and my wife, we about to be grandparents.
Oh man, congratulations, man!
Congratulations, man! You old like us, yeah,
bro,
man. That's good stuff.
That's what keep us looking like this, but we still the ages we are.
I hear you. I definitely hear you. You know what I mean?
I ain't ready.
It's gonna be a granddaughter.
I'm not ready either, dog.
Nah, I hear you on that one. I definitely hear you on that one. Yeah.
So my next question, I of course put down at the bottom. Make sure y'all check out this Saturday, May 17th at 8 p.m. at the Art of the Republic, Columbus, Ohio. But you can also, everyone, watch the live stream where you can join MPCS Entertainment on YouTube. Get their channel, get your tickets. I'm gonna make sure that I do get my ticket and definitely support. Something me and my wife, I think the 17th Saturday. That's right after my daughter's, so my daughter has prom on the 16th. So the 17th, we definitely be watching and tuning in and supporting. And so now to go into my next question is about MPSC Entertainment. How was that started, and what made you start that entertainment company and get that going? What's the story? How's the story behind that? No, and hopefully there's no dead kids involved in this one.
Yeah. Or don't say you did it for taxes neither.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We already understand the whole tax thing. Yeah.
This is what's up, man. Here's an exclusive. All right. So what you hear is what happened. All right. So I need you to stay with me because I don't normally say it like this. So I was coming towards the tail end of my career. And I had to deal with this. The Wayans brothers. We was talking about them earlier. This joker had to be like Marlon Wayans, dude. He was just a knucklehead. He always had to have the limelight and all that sort of thing. And I was probably about 2 years junior to him on the fire department. Anyway, he rose up through the ranks, and so he's a smart guy. He's just a bit of a goof, but he's a smart guy. And I'm trying to say the right thing. All right, you ain't got nothing good to say. Don't say nothing at all. Anyway, this joker was like a miniature version of the Trump administration right now. I mean, he thought he was king. I'm like, bro, what's up? One thing leads to another. I'm like, y'all gonna have to let me go. I'm gonna punch this dude straight in the face. I swear, I'm gonna punch him. All right, we gonna go. All right, and I'm not trying to lose my pension over this. And what winds up happening was they were like, well, why don't you just take some time off? Why don't you just take some FMLA, family medical leave? I was like, all right, bet. That sounds like safer for everybody. Let me take some FMLA. Well, dang, Phil, I thought you was a Christian. Yeah, I'm a Christian, but I'm whooping your A before I go. Do you understand what I'm saying? You know, I was like, man, I'm like, you keep putting the bullseye on me, we don't have a problem. And so anyway, I wound up getting taking some time off. At the same time, COVID hit. All right, and so now my wife is a travel nurse, and she's traveling all over the country and stuff. We had the lockdown starting in Arkansas. When we were in Arkansas and stuff, and then went up to Chicago, we came back around North Carolina, down to Florida and stuff. So every 6 to 12 weeks, we were switching locations and stuff. And what I would do is I would see her once a month for about a week, depending on how my fire schedule worked and whatnot, because I had enough seniority to have all my vacations and all that stuff. But anyway, so COVID hits, and I'm looking like I'm about to use my time off and be with my girl,
Right.
she at and stuff. So anyway, we go ahead and we do that and stuff. But in the meantime, as I was off work, because Mr. Strickland, you still mad? You still want to chop somebody's head off? I was like, yep, he ain't ready, like a Cheez-It commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
He need to stay off.
That's how FMLA works.
Hey,
that's how
that mental health time. I need some mental health.
FMLA work. You ready yet? No.
You better ask somebody, because I was like, don't put me in it. Don't put me in it, because I ain't playing games with this. All right, I'm upset about it, and I don't like being treated unfair. And we was doing all them protests and all that Black Lives Matter stuff and all that. I'm like, bro, I don't know who you think you talking to, but don't let the smooth taste fool you, my brother. Don't let the smooth taste fool you. And anyway, so I go ahead and I wind up retiring out from there. But in the meantime, I couldn't do comedy. One, because you had to remain 6 feet away from everybody, more or less, and two, a lot of my bookings were coming from my hometown or my home state of Ohio. And so I'm like, well, I can't do anything, because if I do something, it's going to mess up my pension and all this other stuff and all. And I ain't trying to get fired, because I'm owed a lot of sick time and, all kinds of different things like that. So I'm calculating all this stuff, because that's one thing firemen do. Boy, they always got a good idea, and they always thinking about their money. All right. Keep that to the bank, because that's how that works. Anyway, get you a good firefighter friend. They're good to have. So we go ahead and
got one.
I started dispatching off my inquiries. Hey, Mr. Phil Strickland, can you come and do our comedy show? We're doing this for our church, or we're doing this for our volunteer department, or we're having this private party and stuff in our backyard. A lot of people were doing that. And I said, I can't be there, but I got you. And we're taking it to the level that you want it to be. All right. You want PG-13, no F-bombs? I got you. So what I would do is I would talk to my different comedy friends and try to come up with something. And I had this one guy that not only could he go out there and do the comedy, but he's my business partner now, a guy named Natarius. He would wrangle all the comics. So I said, Natarius, hey, he's like, what's up, Phil? What's going on? I said, I can't get back over there, man. I'm in Oklahoma right now. I can't get back over to Ohio, and I can't be seen working and stuff. I'm in Portland, Oregon right now. All right. So I can't do it. But if you can give me 5 stars, if you can keep it, this one they said you can do rated R. Don't get too ridiculous. They don't want to hear no sex stuff, or rated G. It's a bunch of kids and all that stuff. You need to put some cartoons in it, that kind of thing. I said, I need 3 comics. I need a host. I need a DJ. Can you put it together? This is our budget and stuff. And he'd be like, all right, bet, I got you. So he started wrangling all the talent, and with the folks that we know in Ohio and how well he knew them, he was like, all right, we would get it situated like it was almost Mission Impossible and stuff. We was dropping comics, on these different deals in these different cities, these different gigs that would come up. And shoot, we must have washed, rinsed, and repeated that probably 35 times before I finally came back to Ohio and stuff. And that right there is how MPSC, which is Mr. Phil Strickland Comedy Entertainment, got built and stuff, because we had to have a team to take care of these things, because I couldn't do it myself because of a technicality, but it still needed to be done, because if it don't make dollars, don't make sense. So anyway,
it was needed.
Got all that situated. One thing leads to another. Now we do it as our regular gig and stuff. We put up private shows. We do all kinds of stuff. We've been in detention facilities. We've been at bridal showers, baby showers, weddings, all kinds of different ones and stuff, where we'll actually sit there and see what they want and then we give them what they want. We
Give them what they want.
and go from there. So it was something that was kind of built out of necessity, and now it's kind of developed a mind of its own. So Phil Strickland is Phil Strickland, and he can do comedy on his own, but he does it through MPSC Entertainment. MPSC Entertainment is like the Super Friends. You know what I'm saying? That's all of us together in the Hall of Justice. That's how that works. And then that spreads across the nation, and we dispatch wherever we got to go. Oh, we got one in Texas. Let's call these comedians, see if they can get out there, get them somebody to wrangle it, get them a DJ. Boom, we go from there. They take their cut, we take our cut, and we go from there. So, built by us, for us kind of thing. So that's what it is.
Okay.
That's what's up.
No, that's hey man, that's a good way of building a solid business, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, man. I definitely appreciate it. You saw the need, and you didn't let your situation kind of hamstring you on, you know what I'm saying, not being able to fulfill that need, right? You know what I'm saying? You just utilize resources, and that's what, you know what I'm saying, good entrepreneurs do. You know what I mean? They adapt and move on. Just ask Matty Ice. He got like 30 businesses.
That's
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Ice from ice cream to clothing to
we don't get no discounts. So don't even worry about that. No
I paid full price for this shirt.
Full price for it. You know what I'm saying? Like I paid full price for an 8-hour ice cream truck too. You know what I mean? Every last 395 tickets. I paid for every school.
Now we gave a school discount, man. We see y'all in a couple weeks. We see y'all.
I love it.
Yeah, man. No, that's definitely a good look, man. You know what I'm saying? Outside of the Ohio State plug, you know what I mean? I appreciate everything you said. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I had an Ohio State kid too, Chase Young, you know what I mean? And I got one there now, David McFadden. He's a freshman. Incoming kid there. So, but you know what I'm saying? There's a little bias on the Ohio State plug, though. You know what I'm saying? So,
and we got a couple good Ohio State kids on the Commanders, man. You know what I mean? We got some good Commanders that came from Ohio State too.
Yeah, but look, he ain't shout out them Cleveland Browns. You see, he ain't shout out that. You know what I mean?
I only say stuff
Or
when
the
it's
Cincinnati
good.
Bengals. He ain't say nothing about that. He said Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? He ain't go no pro nothing. You know what I'm saying?
No, man. All I can say is Ohio State. Anything else is dreams, hopes and dreams. And
you know what I'm saying? Shoot.
That's what's up.
For sure. Yeah, so all right, so now the topic that I want to talk about with everybody is walking in your purpose. So, I kind of felt that way. And I mean, like I said, Phil, I definitely was watching from the background and seeing a lot of things you did. I have watched one of your I think I watched probably like 2 or 3 of the MPS shows and things like that. And, I always want to support, and especially anything that's doing a positive approach on whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So, but my question to you is A, do you feel like, because I never asked you this question, even though we brought this topic, and for me, and I'm just going to go a little bit into me, because I feel like right now I finally realized, I guess, not my purpose, but I know I'm walking towards it. You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to figure out what God has for me and what is next and what is the total goal and everything. But I've finally come to the point where I decided to just follow where God is taking. And I'm just curious did any of these things, or do you feel like you're walking in your purpose? I mean, I find it hard because you're damn near a superhero and you do comedy. You know what I'm saying? Your wife is, is
a nurse.
You know what I'm saying? Like your family sound like they just save people on the regular. Like you got a damn in Columbus, Ohio, there's a bat signal that goes right in your window. You know what I'm saying?
Like, he turns into Superman and flies over there. You know what I mean?
And still has time to tuck his daughters in and tell them stories. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? They go to the club afterwards and make everybody laugh.
Yeah, there you go. You know what I'm saying? He come in the club with the baby in his arm with a ladder in the damn what you call the axe and shit. come in the drink smelling like smoke. And
Listen,
you're like, all right, I'm gonna do my 15-minute set. Let's go.
Yeah.
listen,
man.
Hey, I'm 50 plus years old, bro. I don't be carrying that stuff like them young ones do, man. I'll be like, listen,
Hey.
all right, let's work smarter, not harder. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Who got the real strength? Let's make that happen and stuff. But
I feel you.
for a long while there, again, when the kids were growing up, and that's what really shaped kind of what it is that I do and how we do it and stuff. Some of the things that I'll tell the comedians that we bring on. And so I was like, one thing, let's also keep in mind, y'all's 1099. All right. Y'all
Yep.
independent contractors. All right. So let me, help me help you by doing what the heck it is I'm asking you to do. They're like, dang, how do you keep it all under control? Because it's like you can get into this and be selfish. You can
Yes, you can.
and just be you the comedian and hey, it's mine. I'm gonna get that deal, not you, and all that stuff. But I figured if we looked at it like from the standpoint of how we look at it again on the first responder standpoint, I've been doing this more than half my life. And as I'm looking at trying to get the job done, if we have a structure fire, for example, we have a house fire, for example, you got a chief there that's watching the whole situation, making sure the building ain't about to fall in on the guys that are on the inside and all that sort of thing. So they're looking at all that, making sure the power is out because they call the power company the way they need it to. You got a guy running an engine who's pumping the water into the house. You got another guy on another engine who's supplying the water from a fire hydrant that's down the street and around the corner, and they can't see each other and stuff. You got two guys in there on the hose line and stuff. You got another two guys doing search and rescue, trying to find any victims that might be unconscious and that sort of thing. You got guys in the medic, they're on standby waiting for their own people, as well as any victims that come in. Because you get one victim, boom, that ambulance has to go out and another one has to rotate in. You got guys cutting a hole in the roof, you eject the smoke and stuff. You got a tower captain on the back watching the backside that the chief can't see and reporting back to him. The point is all these things have to happen simultaneously. And you have to have, you got to learn to work smarter, not harder. Seriously, you got to look and have some kind of a game plan. And you can't be outrunning each other. You got to play your position the way it needs to be played. Now we get into football and all that sort of thing. Coach, you know what I'm talking about. Play your position. So in doing all that, what I realized was, and working with a lot of these comedians, they were all the same across the country as I was meeting them, over all this time up until 2023 when we came back to Ohio to stay because we're looking at our family like they a little worse for the wear and there ain't no other medical folk here, So hey, Sandra, it's up to me and you and stuff. We like, yep. So, we got to help our family out. But either way, I said, if I can get these comedians to work together, then we all and stuff. But no one knows how to really take advantage of the strengths and stuff that each one of them has. And I'm like, well, shoot, you heard of Batman? Shoot, I'm gonna be Phil Man. That's what's up.
Yep.
I'm a superhero. He just be thinking, So I'm like, let me think, how can we do this? All right, now this guy's got a strong following. This guy over here, if we can keep him on the good foot, so he ain't out here cussing and acting crazy, but he got some good stuff if he just keep it clean. This young lady over here, not only can she tell jokes, but she ain't hard to look at and stuff. Things together and stuff. Next thing you know, like I said, it's like Tupac. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. You put all that stuff, but it work together. Now we all making cash. So with us, a lot of times we give everyone their own promo code, so they're not just looking at it like, hey, give me my money for my performance. Yeah, that's your performance, but Columbus ain't nothing but a fishbowl compared to the world, which is the ocean. All right, and that's the bigger, better thing that we're looking at. Then what is you doing? Get your hustle on. Use your promo code. Leverage your social media following. That's what we try to do. That's why the bigger thing is watching it online and stuff. Yeah, that was something that was made in stride, as we try to design all that and stuff. But man, come on, man. You got the hustle and stuff. And this way I can pay each one of them based on what's going on. Because as they sell their ticket, I'm like, here's your cut. And so, the show, I gotta bring my own audience and stuff. And listen, if you is as good as you say you are, then go be funny. And there's people that want to see you. And if they want to see you, give them the opportunity to see you, even if they ain't in Columbus, Ohio, even if they ain't in Houston, Texas, even if they ain't up in New York. What's up?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. And through them promoting their stuff, they'll automatically get a chance to see me. I'm like, right. As you guys take care of one another, you'll be taken care of all the way around. All right. The only thing that's funny is on stage. Everything else, cutthroat serious. All right. So let's
Yes.
see. And they understand it and they like it. I'm like, I'm not here to necessarily make you feel good. I'm here to make you money. All right. We're trying to make money, but everybody got to play their position if we expect to go to the Rose Bowl or Super Bowl or whatever, however you want to put it. So that's my
right. You ain't got nobody going to the Super Bowl in Ohio. So.
Nah.
You ain't got to worry about that. Yeah, you ain't got to worry. So Rose Bowl was a better analogy.
Definitely. And that's a baby. That just depends on how Michigan be acting. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean. Definitely. I definitely believe. You know what I'm saying? This everybody has. You know what I'm saying? Their key input, and there has to be a leader. You know what I'm saying? It's funny that you say that. What you said is that a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, complain about being part of the system. But I was talking to my wife the other day, and I said, it's amazing that a lot of people don't fulfill their dream because they don't even try to do the simple steps. Right, like especially when it comes to entrepreneurship, we had this conversation last night or the night before, and I was like, everybody could do this certification that I just did because all I did was fill out a piece of paper, right? And even if you get it wrong the first 3 times, the 4th time you'll get it right, and you will be certified in this particular area. And it didn't take you any effort at all to do it. But some people won't even do that effort. They won't even put forth that effort to fulfill their dream. And it's crazy how much the will to act on your dream is really what's holding people back from fulfilling their dream. It's crazy.
And a lot of people think it's going to happen overnight too. They think just because it's something that you think, oh, I'm really good at this, so I'm going to blow up overnight. You know what I'm saying? Like, that don't mean it's a million people good at stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, and it's just like, even I'm sure, Coach, you tell your kids, and I've been telling, like I tell my son now, he just recently said he wants to get into football. He's really getting into football. He started playing flag football this year, and he's really getting into it. And my son is fast. He's really fast. But I was like, son, you got to understand, when we really get into this, you're going to run into kids just as fast as you. What's going to make you different? You know what I'm saying? What's going to make you different? I was like, so don't think just because you're athletic that school doesn't matter. Don't think that just because you're athletic. I said, you got to understand that this is a tool. You know what I'm saying? That this sport we're about to play is a tool for you to be successful in a lot of other things, not just football. You know what I'm saying? And I promise you, he won't go to Ohio State. But if he does become successful, I'll make sure that don't happen. You know, I'll make sure that don't happen. But you know, if he is successful, you know, my goal for him, and I'm telling him even at an age now, is that, you know, you got to be willing to do what other kids aren't doing. And that's what I told him. I was like, he was like, well, we got practice, you know, Monday and Wednesday and this, that, and the other. I said, okay. So what about those other days? What are you doing? Are you working on something? Are you going? Because the only way you're going to become better than anybody out here is by doing the things that other people aren't doing. The whole Kobe Bryant. Kobe was always one of, and I don't watch a lot of football, but I respect him for a lot of things that he talks about, where he says that he talks about doing it 15 minutes more than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? 15 minutes more. If you do it 15 minutes more than anybody else and you put years behind that, you're going to be levels above them. Yes, and you only spent 15 minutes more. You know what I'm saying? Yep. You just have to be there. If the first person getting to the gym is at 4 a.m., you get there at 3:45. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I tell my son, and I've told all my kids that, really, that if you want to really excel at something, then you have to live it and be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I don't even know how we got on that, but anyway.
You know what? Real quick, I wanted to say, when it comes to the nieces and nephews, along with my kids and whatnot, something I used to tell them is, hey, what would you do for 40 hours a week if money wasn't an issue? I said, let's start there. And said, what would you do for 40 hours a week if money wasn't an issue? And no, the option to, well, I sit back and I just be chilling. I watch what I want and do that. Listen, what would you do for your community or your people or a specific set to give back to the human race? What would you do?
Yep.
Stuff, and they're like, that's a good question. I'm like, all right, let that be your guidance. Let that be where you start from the standpoint of what you want to do for your life and stuff. If I could, I'd love to be able to talk to people, encourage them, help them to laugh, maybe feel better about something, and go from there and stuff, and do that on a repeating basis and stuff. And so that's why, to me, it's a calling saying, hey, go out, be a comedian, and help others, to do it also. Help put them where it is they're trying to be anyway and stuff. But hey, some people may want to paint. Some people may be like, I just like fixing cars and stuff. I can fix cars all the time. All right, then. That's what's up. Let's start moving towards that. I want to be in ministry. All right, let's go ahead and start volunteering at church, and doing that. I want to bake cookies. We know what we got to do.
Go bake.
So that is
clean up your kitchen first.
I'm about to say, make sure you ain't got no cats.
Make sure you ain't got no cats. None of that stuff like that. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Or we'll go to a commercial kitchen or something like that. Don't do no pilots. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I totally agree. Like walking in your purpose, it's exactly what you said. Like it's what you're willing to do that you don't have to get paid to do. Right? You know what I'm saying? Or money. Like it's amazing that when you start walking in your purpose and money is no longer the motivating factor, it's amazing how quick money builds.
How much money you'll make.
Yeah, how much money you'll make when you're walking in your purpose when it's not a factor. Yep. Right? And it's also a blessing and it's fulfilling, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, well, it's funny. I coached for 15 years at a very, very big high school. And you and Rodney and y'all know I got multiple players in the NFL right now. A lot of players that are in college right now.
We don't clap for them, Phil.
They don't clap for me, Phil.
We don't do that, sir. We don't do that here.
The reason being, Phil, is because I got 4 different teams. Because I root. So the last 4 years, I've had 4 kids drafted, right? Wow. And so I root for those 4 different teams. They just happen to play this team called the Commanders that are locally here, right? You know what I mean? So. And so yeah, they think I switch up all the time, but it's really yeah, it's really, you know, that just me rooting for some kids that I know. You know what I mean? That's all it is. You know what I mean? It's nothing more. But you know what I mean? But it's fun. I say all that because I literally only made $1,000 a season.
Yep.
Like, and that it really equates to about like 13 cents an hour.
Come on.
to do that. Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? But the fulfilling factor is I take my family to go see these kids play. These kids appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? And I stepped away from my passion so that my wife could fulfill her passion.
Yeah.
Because you know what I mean? And hey, if seeing her grow and seeing her fulfill her passion, you know what I'm saying? That's what marriage is about, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? So, it's her time to walk in her purpose because, you know what I'm saying? Her purpose is the focus right now. And will I come back to my focus? Of course. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? At some point. But for right now, you know what I'm saying? That's when when money is not the driving factor, you know that it's not your purpose. You know what I'm saying? You're walking in your purpose.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what we got to look at, man. We got to break it down to the brass tacks. What would I do if money wasn't an issue? I would do this. All right. Well, even though you would do that, my wife has a book that she's writing from an anxious rescue dog's standpoint. His name Blueberry, and I swear Blueberry must have been speaking Japanese or something because she didn't understand nobody when we first got her. It didn't make no sense. And,
right.
One of our daughters got her, and I was like, she looks like our other dog, Jax. That's 2 different dogs. That's like saying, hey, do you know that black person over there? We are not all the same. All right.
Right. Exactly.
You want to get to know that one, you need to get to know that one. And stuff. But anyway, she's writing this book and going from there. But she pays the bills based on her nursing and her taking care of things from that standpoint at the Ohio State, as a matter of fact, that she
Oh
works for.
yeah.
And so
Oh
we
yeah.
ain't fanatical
Yeah.
like everybody else.
That's what we
Strickland's on there right now, but maybe in the
yeah.
future, we'll see what happens. But yeah, in doing that, that's what she's all about, And I'm like, baby, do you, and stuff. I'm here to support you and make it happen. However, once she's up to and flying at the altitude that she wants to be, then I'm right back in my grind,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm right back on my grind and stuff. So I'm telling you, it's a good thing. There's times that she'll come to some of the shows, and in the beginning she'd come and she'd be like, I already heard them jokes. I'm like, baby, it ain't for you. All right, this is for the other
Right.
folks.
Exactly.
This is for the other folks. It's like, all right, yeah, okay, I understand. All right, I'll be there. I'll support you and all that sort of thing and stuff. But either way, that's exactly what's up, man. So yeah, y'all saying some good stuff on here, man.
Yeah. Fly Eagles fly, baby.
Here we go. Matt, you ain't got nothing to say about this? Your boy over here acting up, man.
I hear him, man. I see this. He
y'all
done went to the joint.
Y'all throw the Commanders hats, you know what I'm saying? Washington National hats. Just because his hat started fitting again, he decided to wear his Nationals hat.
No, man. Oh, wait. See, I represent the home team, man.
Y'all could at least rock the Capitals, and I would have been respectful. You know what I'm saying?
I'm rocking the red.
What are you talking about? We went to the division championship.
But that's over with. That's over with. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can rock the Capitals.
We still win.
The Capitals are current. The Nationals are terrible. You know what I mean? And the Capitals need the support.
Dog, you didn't even know the Eagles were in Pennsylvania, dog. You thought Philadelphia was a state. You know what I'm saying? So what are you talking about?
Capitals losing right now.
Now you bringing that. All right, well, I ain't gonna argue with you over this.
That's what I'm talking about.
Terrible, man.
You see how he tried to you see how he puts his terrible fandom on his kids, right? He blamed them. He like, oh, I got kids at four different NFL teams. So I'm allowed to flip-flop because I don't want to make decisions. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh, dang. I did that by accident. Hold on, my bad. That time was by accident. That time was by accident. But yeah, you see how he do? You mad then he won't blame it on everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
That's why he flip-flopping.
Yeah, take accountability for your bad decisions, sir.
I'm going to Tennessee this year. Tennessee Titans, baby. Titans up.
Yeah. I am kind of upset that you take your family, but you don't invite one of your best friends, though. That kind of is messed up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, look.
We can have a dad mentality road trip, right, man?
We should, man. You know what I'm
saying? We could go. Like, I don't know if the wife wants to go. Like, she was not letting me invite nobody to LA. Y'all already knew that wasn't going to. But you know what I'm saying? Y'all already knew y'all weren't going. But this year it's either gonna be Tennessee or Indy. You know what I'm saying? And if it's Tennessee, she gonna want to come for sure. But if it's Indy, she don't want to go to Indy. She already said that.
It's okay. We can make it a whole, we can make it a whole wife trip too. My wife go to Tennessee or whatever, but we'll talk about that later when we got our guests today. But what are we going to do? Hey, Phil.
I know we're not going to Cleveland. That's why I know we're not going. We ain't going Let's go Columbus. Like Columbus, Cleveland, anything with a C, we ain't going there. We ain't got to worry about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
No Ohio, man. They going to Cincinnati, nothing.
They got the Hall of Fame in Ohio, though. We can go check that out.
We beat down some team in Ohio, too. We beat down some team out there, too. You know what I'm saying? Some high school team thought they could play football. Yeah, we beat them down, too. So, you know what I mean? But yeah. If you don't know, I'm the ultimate trash talker when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, sports. So
yeah, I picked it up when I talked about my little 13 miles on the bike.
Yeah. You should have.
Yeah, Coach John like me hating, man. I try to say I did a little workout. He like, man, you ain't doing nothing, man. You ain't lifting 600 pounds, bro. You ain't, man. Ain't nobody trying to worry about what you.
Oh man, I gotta motivate him. You know what I'm saying? Gotta motivate him. I gave him credit this week, Matt. You know, I do give you credit when credit is due, but what you're not gonna do is say I walked around the block and I've been working out. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's not what
you gotta start somewhere, man.
You're not about to do that. Nah,
Hey, I told you I ain't riding no bike no
hey,
more,
look,
man.
nah, just pissed you off that day. You just happened to get it, walk around the block to cool down. That's all that was.
Nah,
Nah,
You know what I'm saying?
man.
But don't call it working out. You know what I
Walking is
mean?
good, man. I get my
Yeah.
steps in, man. I got my tracker, man. I track my steps, man. Gotta get my steps in every day.
Hey, well, Phil, I do want to say this. I do want to talk to you more. Another time. I don't want this show to go too long because I know you can get a call at any time. So I do want to get into our reels and discuss them real quick. But I did want to, say I do want to bring you back because I do want to talk more into it. I definitely appreciate you coming and joining us and giving us this time. But for everybody, make sure Saturday, May 6th, 17th. 8 o'clock. If you are in Columbus, Ohio, then I feel bad for you. But you can go to the Art of Republic, and but if not, you can definitely check out the live stream, and hopefully Phil will give us a QR code to get our discount and everything, so that we can let the people know and watch. But
the code is all caps. It's MPSCPS, which is just my initials right there. So MPSC. PS, and it gives you 25% off. Like I said, I'd be happy to have any and all who want to come there and have a laugh and go from there. So put that in at checkout on the Eventbrite. It'll hook you up, go from there. If price is an issue for anybody watching, man, just message me. I'll take care of you. It'll be all right.
Hey, man, that's a bigger discount than Matty Ice has ever given us.
Come on.
We appreciate you.
Matty Ice, though, do you like the fact you give it a discount?
Nah, I ain't mad at him, you know what I mean? Hey, do what you do, you know what I mean?
Right, you ain't getting one here, though.
That's exactly what Matt was thinking.
I give Ice King to the kids for free all the time. Let some kids come to the truck and don't have no money. I look out for the kids.
All right, so I put the code
Coach over there making all that money in one discount. I'm like, man, come on, man. Go spend some of that creek, baby. You know what I mean?
MPSCPS is the code, right?
Yep, and you put that in at Eventbrite at the checkout right there. It'll be like, you have a code, you put that in. It's all caps. It's got to be all caps.
All caps.
It'll automatically be 25% off. You go from there. Watch it online. I think it's like 8,000 full freight.
Yeah, see, if that was Matty Ice, he'd charge 25% more when you do that.
Yeah, because he
hey, don't tell the tricks, man. That's the big companies do it where I can't do it. Come on, stop it, Rodney. Stop
it. It's all good though, fellas. But hey, look, I got a couple reels I want to watch. One talking about fatherhood. Another one that gives a story. I think Phil even kind of touched on a little bit of this during this conversation. So I think this is a good one for us to watch. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up real quick and make sure this is on. And here we go.
Father's job is not to nurture. The father's job is to be a microcosm of the real world. Love your child, yes, but prepare your child for the world out there, because nobody cares that you were the chosen one and you came along at a time when the family really needed a baby, and nobody cares. Can you do the job or no? It's real binary. I don't care what they say on the internet. The world is very binary. Do it or no. Can or cannot. Do or do not. There is no try. Your 17th place trophy in wiffle ball don't mean nothing to these people. Just like old Rick with his 4 touchdowns in a single game. Like nobody cares.
Al Bundy.
Environment that is grounded in reality and maximum skills, especially for our daughters. And then we also have to get to a point where we start shaming people for not doing the right thing. And the right thing ain't child support. The right thing is taking care of your kid without the interference of the government. The right thing is educating your kid without worrying about whether or not they get a degree. Or the world. The father's job.
All right. So what did y'all think about that clip? I saw Phil giving a lot of facial expressions, so I'll go ahead and let him go first about what he think about that clip.
Man, shoot, that's real talk, man. I used to I was a youth leader for probably about 12, 13 years and stuff. And I remember telling them young bucks as they was coming up, I said, hey, look, anybody can be a dad. It takes a real man to be a father and stuff, but you can raise your kids, but the great ones actually help raise others' kids. which is why y'all here in my basement right now. You should have brought some more donuts because it was on Saturday morning. And they start laughing and all. But the point was, you could raise your kids, but it takes a real special person to help raise someone else's kids and stuff. And that's real talk, man. Our kids are watching us, bro. Our kids are watching us. Man, if we don't care, who gonna care? Because the world will eat them up. I love you enough to tell you the truth, babies. That's what's up. That's how I put it. That's how I put it.
Yeah, Coach, how you feel?
I mean, you know how I am when it comes to that. You know what I'm saying? I am an advocate for like children learning early that either you gonna do it or you ain't. Like I mean, it's just what it is. I think that, and I've said this many times. I think the critical moment in a lot of young adults' lives are that time frame between 18 and 23,
Bro.
and them maturing in a manner of which they are not reliant on us. That's the time they must struggle to get through some things and learn some hard lessons that won't kill them at that point, right?
But
Where we are
yeah,
still the safety net, but the net, you got to drop a long ways till you get to that net, right? You got to go through some falls, you got to go through some scares before you get. And what it does is it ensures one that they don't necessarily move back right back home. That's the first thing. You know what I mean? Not saying that they won't eventually, but it teaches them responsibility. You know what I'm saying? At a very early age. You know what I'm saying? And not the teenage responsibility, not the childhood responsibility, but hey, the adult world expects you to perform. The adult world expects you to advocate for yourself. If you want something in the adult world, you must get it because ain't nobody gonna give it to you in the adult world. You want a job? Go apply for a job. You want a scholarship? You gotta go apply for a scholarship. You want to keep your job? You gotta go to work. You know what I mean? And you know what I'm saying? It's just though that is the time frame where it's kind of like, oh, I didn't want to be an adult. They got to learn that during that time frame. I really didn't want to be an adult so quick, but now that I'm here, I got to learn how to be it because you know what I'm saying. If you get coddled, then that process takes so much longer after 23 to get to 25 when you really start hitting the pavement, right? So, but oftentimes we still want to shelter our kids at that level
yeah,
when we really should be letting them go.
definitely. I definitely agree with that. And I've learned those lessons just, through our kids because, as we grow, we want to, make sure our kids have the best, look out for them. But you definitely got to let them bump their heads as they grow older. You know what I'm saying? To get out here and figure out that everybody not gonna love you the way your parents love you. You know what I mean? We think you cute. We think you know what I mean. But once you go out there, you're not gonna get those same leeways in the real world. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a invaluable lesson that we have to teach our kids. You know what I mean? That people gonna treat you differently when it's not your friends, family, and loved ones. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of times, especially in our day and age, I can say sometimes I've been at fault with that. Like we give our kids a little too much leeway and leverage, but just because we want to feel like we are giving them a leg up, but sometimes we do hinder them when we don't kind of make them struggle. You know what I mean? In areas where they should. You know what I mean? So I definitely have learned that through experience. I've seen that through other friends and families, you know what I mean, who have done that. And sometimes it backfires on them when they do, you know what I mean? Then the kid try to, you know what I mean, get you with sympathy, you know what I mean? Like so now you trying to be sympathetic to what they're feeling, and then you giving them a little too much. So I think that is true, you know what I mean? But there's definitely balance to it. You know what I'm saying? But I do agree with that and a lot of the points that he did make.
Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely agree with everything everybody said. I think we kind of I mean, as fathers, we're definitely it's easier for us to do a lot of those things. It's just like when even the coach talked about 18 to 23, But let's talk about even when they're babies or infants and they're learning. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta they start walking and they fall and hit their butt. You can't run up into them and coddle them and this, that, and the other. You gotta learn to get back, learn for them they have to learn to get back up. And even that same method is the same way when they get to the 1823. You got to let them fall. You know they're going to fall. You know what I'm saying? There's no perfect life out here where anybody walks out here and is successful right off the jump. There's going to be falls. It's about to get back up. That's what I tell my kids and talk to them about. It's about to get back up. Yes, you're going to scrape your knee. You still got to get up. You know what I'm saying? Yes, something's going to happen. It's going to be difficult, or something's not going to go your way. You still got to get back up. You know what I'm saying? And you still got to get in the process of getting back up is what's going to make your kids strong and actually grow. You know what I'm saying? And I'll give a real quick when my son he was 23 now in the Air Force. When he was from ages 2 to 5, he had seizures. And they couldn't figure out why he was having seizures and all this other kind of stuff. And the doctor told us, oh, he's going to have developmental problems. He's going to have this issue. He's going to have that. And he said, your son can't play sports because he can't do anything that's going to bang his head or this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. And the doctor said all that. Me and my wife went home and prayed. And God told me, put him in everything. Put him in everything. And my son played football. He played every sport. He did everything. And then at the end, his passion became in mixed martial arts. Now, if you don't think he got hit in the head in mixed martial arts, it definitely happened. He did that for years and loved it and went to practice. I didn't have to wake him up. He was walking to practice if I didn't get up in time to take him to practice. You know what I'm saying? And those are the things that, people say you can't do this, you can't do that. But when it comes to, like, look, if God say you can do anything, man. So he definitely did. Now he's in the military serving. You know what I'm saying? And that was one of the reasons why it took him so long to get into the military, is because they had to deal with all those issues because he had seizures, he had and he had to prove that he was capable. You know what I'm saying? And he did all that. He made those statements and made those efforts to be there. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm super proud of that. But look, man, even at a young age, you'll be told that you can't do something. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, you set your mind to it. You put God is in your corner. You can do whatever you want. So, that's just my little part about that. But you got to teach your kids, hey, look, it's not about the fall. It's about to get up. I think Phil said something earlier about it's either a lesson or what was the statement?
You win or you learn.
Yeah, you win or you learn. So even in things, if you call it a disappointment or failure, there's still something to be learned there. You know what I'm saying? And turn that into turn that into the real thing. And that's something that we definitely need to be talking to our kids about, and not even our kids, man. Talk to everyone about it. Because you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I've started this new job and it's been kind of my mission there because I see all these talented young people, but they've been told all their life they can't. And I'm just looking at them like, why can't you? And they're like, well, I was told I can't do that. Why? Tell me why. I need you to explain. And they don't have the answer. And I was like, well, and it's another thing I'm preaching now is that if you don't change, then you chose.
Ooh,
and good. He was like, what? And I was like, yeah, if you don't change something, then you chose it. I was like, I had a great job, but I was miserable. I hated it. I didn't want to be there anymore. So in one point in time, if I'm still going to work, that means I chose it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I chose it. So if you're not willing to change, then you chose it. So there you go. So why are you complaining? So and I told them all that. If something's not right in your life and you don't change it, then you're choosing it. So there you go. And that's just another thing to throw in there real quick. So I think we all answered that. I got one more clip. Let me get ready to pull that one up. And this one kind of go. Hold on. Sorry. Pulled up the same clip.
Had I not fallen down, I wouldn't have my wife. You can stop right there. I 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 go through 5 years of hell to get her. Did it hurt? Was it uncomfortable? Was it embarrassing? Yeah. But I wouldn't have got her. And I wouldn't have got me. These past 2 years, I got to go back and get me. Had I
All right, so if y'all don't know who that is, that's Jonathan Majors. If you're not familiar with his situation, he has been going through something where a young lady has accused him of some things that she allegedly says he did. And he was in an interview talking about that, and he said, yeah, all that happened, but doing all that, I found my wife. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? If I had to go through that to find her, then it was all worth it. You know what I'm saying? Those 2 years of going through that was nothing. I go through 5 years because I found her. And to me, that lesson in just watching him in there. And I'm not saying whatever he did was heinous and didn't deserve, but the lesson that he's saying in that is something to be noted. You know what I'm saying? Like, because even though you go through something, it could be setting you up for the true blessing. You know what I'm saying? Because the blessing to him is he found his wife. He found the one. You know what I'm saying? So in my opinion, I thought it was a good lesson to learn. And we always talk about, like you even just said, lesson in winning and lesson. You know what I'm saying? So
it's not a loss, it's a lesson. You know what I mean?
It's a lesson.
I don't know. Anybody else, you got anything to add to that, or what you think about that?
Yeah, I agree, because you definitely got to go through things. I think it's when you go through situations, it's always an opportunity in every challenge, because that's how you create something. Like you were saying, like that's how you came up with MPSC, because there was a challenge there. But you didn't allow that to stop you. You came up with an idea, so it created an opportunity. So different things and challenges that we go through, situations. Some of them are more serious than others, but it's all about how you decide to respond to it, not react to it. So you respond to it, you come up with an idea and a solution, and then a lot of times, if you are in the right mindset when you are going through a situation, you come up with those solutions, those ideas that could create opportunity. You know what I mean? Because I went through several situations at the time that I didn't really understand or know how I was going to deal with, but then you just continue to push forward, and then you look back on it and you realize that situation actually was a good thing. You know what I mean? That allowed you to learn new things, created an opportunity that you may have never sought out before if you didn't experience that challenge. You know what I mean? That friction that caused you to seek out new means. You know what I mean? But you got to be in the right mental state, you know what I mean, to be aware of the opportunities that's around you, when you're going through those things. So I definitely agree with that.
All right, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, as long I think it's right to what y'all been talking about. He's just learning from his situation, right? You know what I mean? And I mean, his situation was difficult. And truth be told, I mean, some of it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I get it that you found a wife. Some of it was self-inflicted, but at the very least, he learned from it. Right.
Yeah,
And now,
a lot of times it is self-inflicted, the stuff we go through.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and at least he's recognizing that, you know what I'm saying? He had to learn from it, and he had to grow from it.
But the other aspect about that is that if he hadn't went through it, would he have been ready for his wife?
Yeah, he would.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't know either way, though.
Yeah, I got you. But I'm saying, that could have been a real incident. Because I mean, there's a lot of things I went through in my life that trust me, definitely prepared me for marriage and things like that I thought was heinous at the time that it happened. But hey, I wouldn't have been softened. I wouldn't have been softened. I wouldn't, to me, and I'm just giving the outside looking in, he fell off a pedestal. You know what I'm saying? And because at that point in time, he may not have been looking for a wife because he was on that pedestal. And then when he fell off and realized, I'm vulnerable. I'm actually a person. I'm not this God that I put myself to be on. That hold on, who's really here for me? Type of situation in my mind. But I don't, like I said, I'm just the outside looking in. Phil, I'll let you get the last word for us, brother.
Bro, I appreciate you. I sent you over two pictures I wanted to reference on based on what Mr. Majors was talking about and stuff. The first one was the playing card for my dad. Are you able to put that up?
You sent it to me on Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook Messenger. I think I sent it.
He ain't got that kind of savvy. You know what I'm saying?
You see how hateful people are, man? You know what I'm saying? You talking about this picture right here, sir?
If you
talk about this picture right here, sir. This picture is this the picture you talking about that I can't?
That was Coach. That was my dad.
Okay, good stuff, man.
For what he did. At his time, he didn't even want to play football. He wanted to play baseball. And one of the guys, this guy named Leroy, they was out playing backyard football with the kids around Cincinnati because he was from Cincinnati. Oh, excuse me.
Oh, here we go.
And he said, "Man, you should play football, man. They can pay for your school." And he was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, they can pay for your school and all that." He went ahead and got on the freshman football team and stuff, and he got on there before he was supposed to and stuff. He went to the practices over the summer and all that, and the coach found out. He's like, "Strickland, you in 8th grade?" He's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Man, you about to mess up our
roster
season, yeah.
Man." He's like, "You come back to me next year and stuff, and we go from there." So anyway, he comes back, he gets it done, he gets it situated, and winds up getting all the way up to Ohio State, met Woody Hayes.
Good stuff.
And all that stuff. But the cool thing is he kept pressing through. And one of the things that he tells me, because he's still around, but one of the things that he tells me is like, "Hey, I did what I had to do then, so you guys can do what you want to do now." All right.
Stuff.
I was in there, and I used to laugh at him when he was little because his fingers be all bent up and all that stuff. And playing football. I was like, "Make them straight, Dad." He's like, "I can't." And I laughed. I'm 3 or 4 years old and stuff, but man, that's what he did. And
he played both sides of the ball.
Man, yeah, hey, we got to remember.
Yeah, I see.
We're standing on the
back
shoulders.
in the day, yeah.
We're standing on the shoulders of those who came before us.
Oh, no doubt.
Hard things that they went through, like, why in the world would y'all have chitlins? Well, that's because that's all we had, and we learned how to clean and spice them up and all that sort of thing. And do what we got to do. We got a lot of inventions and stuff, in our pocket and stuff that we came up with because of necessity. And with that being the case, man, we got to stand up and do what we got to do, man. So not only for us now, but for those that is coming after us. That's what I got to say about that. That next.
All right, you ready for the second picture? Look at that. Pull that up, no problem. Look at that,
bro. Look at that. See,
see how people doubt you, man. When you try to shine, you see how they try to pull you down.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? I'm out here shining on you, baby.
A broken clock is right twice a day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
bro, yeah, man. If it hadn't been for how my dad did our family, and we got a chance to live in a lot of different places, I had to make a lot of friends real quick and all that. I was able to sit down and Cassandra was like, "Hey, I want you to be my man." I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Let's relax and stuff." But either way, we went ahead. We wound up getting these 2 beautiful daughters, and they're both doing their own big things now. And going from there, the one in the orange dress is the one that's about to make us grandparents, and the one on the far right is the one who was like, "Dad, sorry about the truck window." So, hey, man, you gotta take the good with the bad, man. Sometimes you get the bull, sometimes you get the horns.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Awesome, man.
I see you out kicked your coverage. I couldn't tell which one was the daughter. I was trying to figure it out. I see you over there, Mr. Phil. No wonder you happy. It's all good, brother. You know, we all out kicked our coverage, truth be told. So.
Yep. Definitely.
I appreciate it. Absolutely. So we're going to get ready in the show. Phil, this was an excellent show. I'm so glad you came and hung out with us this time. I'm definitely going to have to invite you again before the end of this season. Probably next. You know what I'll do? We're gonna start doing football season when football season starts. You know, we'll get you in here, you know, to talk about your Cleveland Browns or something too, or whatever team, you know, Cincinnati Bengals or you know, whatever. We'll get you in here to do some picks. We gotta find a week. We gotta make sure that the Cincinnati and Cleveland are relevant, hopefully. So it's gotta be like week 1. You know,
here to talk about
Shador. Yeah, we'll see about Shador, how you feel about that. But definitely talk about even more conversation about, you know, you and comedy and the things that you do. You know, excellent father, excellent man. You know, and you know, next time we'll get you a dad mentality superhero cape you can wear or something. You know what I'm saying? to bring it all together.
Hey,
you know,
we could get him that 5 Marshall Bill joint. You know what I'm saying? We could get him that 5 Marshall Bill joint. You know what I mean?
That was comedy fodder, bro.
But real quick before we leave, give out all your Instagram, everything, so everybody know where to find you and where to check you out and all that kind of stuff.
Word. All right. MPSC Entertainment LLC on all socials. So Instagram, MPSC Entertainment LLC, YouTube, MPSC Entertainment, all socials and whatnot. If you get on there, you can find me, Mr. Phil Strickland. I go by Mr. Phil Strick on Instagram. Y'all come on there, man. You can't never have too many friends. Even Jesus had homeboys. So that's y'all come see me.
All right, you see how quickly he compared himself to Jesus? See how he's Jesus. You know what I'm saying? That a superhero thing going through his head, man. You know what I'm saying? Give one damn compliment and see what happens. He's Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Bad enough he pulling out 68 pictures of his dad in Ohio State uniforms and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, try to make sure he get his pat on his back, but it's all good.
It's all good. You know what I'm saying? This is your introductory episode. The next episode will not be this light. You know what I'm saying? We are coming all the way after you. The next
episode. I'll take it.
All right, so make sure y'all get y'all tickets Saturday, May 17th, 8 o'clock at the Art of Republic, Columbus, Ohio. Join the live stream. Make sure you go to MPSC Entertainment, the YouTube. Grab the link. The link is in the comments. Put your code in, MPSCPS, and you get 25% off. And unless you're Matty Ice, where you get 50% more. So, you know, we're going to make that happen. And, you know, thank you for joining us again and here at Dad Mentality. God bless.
So great.
Good night.